Thank you, Michael. Is the mic still working? I usually talk loud anyway. All right, so how many of you have already seen me? I've been around in Ireland for about 3 years. Sponsors, yeah, nice smiling face right in front of me. Anyone else? Great, I'm still a stranger. Okay, we're glad to sponsor CAI. We've been continuously sponsoring CAI. And what's the slide on the screen right now? Okay, so as Michael's already introduced me, my name is Sandeep. I'm a qualified accountant. I completed my ACCA in 2012, and then I moved over to practice as an auditor. Then I moved over to cloud accounting software, so actually it's Intuit, makers of QuickBooks. Previous speaker, Brenton's already spoken about cloud accounting software. And then at Intuit, I actually helped as a financial expert develop their payments tool, which was integrated as a part of the ecosystem. Then now I'm at Confirmation. Confirmation is the global leader for digital confirmations. There's about 16,000 audit firms connected, about 135 offices in Ireland, Northern Ireland, to be more country specific. And then it's a multi-language platform with customers using us in our platform in about 170 countries. And we process about more than 2 million confirmation annually, okay? I've just seen the agenda of the whole day, and you can be rest assured that technology and contents today that will be discussed will be overlapping, and repetition will become a prayer today. Okay, Brenton's spoken about stuff that will be also something that I'll be covering, but it's fine. Why not? It's a technology conference, right? And the target we have right now in front of us, the audience, I believe is the target audience for all the software providers and the solutions that are exhibiting on the first floor. My agenda includes general technology developments. I'll be showing you a list of companies and brands that you might have already used, and then I'll focus into the industry technology developments, focusing on accounting industry and profession as a whole. And then I'll be narrowing it down to how technology has already reshaped how audit's done and how audits perform. The previous speaker, Dream Audit, I heard about it first time, but seems to be something that I need to look into as someone being in the industry. And then lastly, something that you can implement. Why should you care about technology? And then we'll end up with some question and answer sessions if you have any. All right, so this one, I love this quote that came from Tom Goodwin, he's the editor at a French media company, Havas. If you're wondering, the world's largest taxi firm, Uber, right? Not very much in Ireland, because my taxi is here, but the same thing is driven by the same sort of technology. Actually, it doesn't own a single vehicle, right? Facebook, one of the most popular media company, Facebook, creates no content because narcissists like you and me, we write and post photos in the post, in our wall, and that becomes media for Facebook. And then there are so many people in Facebook, they make money out of the advertising revenues. One of the biggest and most valuable retailer, Alibaba, by the way, founded by Jack Ma, who still doesn't know how to code a single line of, logic. He founded Alibaba, doesn't hold a single piece of stock, no inventory, no LIFO, no FIFO, no inventory tool. He is just a platform, and he's sold, I think, $30 billion in a single day, and ironically, the day was called the Singles Day, happened last year. And lastly, Airbnb, now the world's largest accommodation provider, actually owns no property, right? So question to you is, how do you think this was possible? This is possible. Entrepreneurs have been managing, and they've seen this opportunity to connect demand and supply economics because they're building a platform in between. And who is the winner? Consumers like you and me. I use Uber a lot because black taxis compared to Uber is about almost double the price, right? And consumers like me, I'm winning in the end. I'm currently doing my MBA at Bradford University. And what I do after my day's work is I go home and then I log into Blackboard. which is a platform in the education industry. I go and I can log into my lectures, I can submit my assignments using Turnitin, another technology platform. The business dev manager from Sage already spoke about Netflix, right? I also use laundry app. They come to my doorstep, take my suits away, dry clean it, next day deliver it. Don't have to go to a dry cleaner anymore. So all of this has only been possible because of technology. All right. This probably half of what you see in the slide is already exhibiting upstairs, and why not, right? Again, it's the technology conference. Stripe. Do you know where Stripe's founders are from? They're from Limerick, the Collison brothers. And guess what? They've just integrated with Amazon, so people won't even know that half of the US will be unknowingly transacting through the Stripe platform. QuickBooks, my previous employer, when I was about to leave QuickBooks, there was some discussions happening in the product team, and I don't know if I can say this, but I think it's going to happen anyway. There was a small business entering into a cab, and then there was a transaction that happened. The small business was a hairdresser, and then the entrepreneur was talking to an Alexa-powered device and saying, "Can I speak to my accountant? I've got a question on one of the entries." And because of AI and the tools that AI enhances and makes it possible, Alexa was ringing the phone to the accountant directly. And this is something QuickBooks will deliver. It is in the product pipeline. Go Cardless is a recurring direct debit platform. So if you have, clients that you have with a recurring direct debit issue, or if you want to collect your fees, you can always integrate with Go Cardless. Irish bought Cashflow. In Ireland, actually, one of the sponsors who's exhibiting upstairs is Surf Accountants. Bankstream, this is a direct bank feed. I know Xero actually already integrates and has direct bank feeds with Bank of Ireland, AIB in Ulster in Ireland. FreshBooks, Xero, as Brenton already spoke about, is a New Zealand company. Actually, let me quickly get a raise of hands. How many of you have already, used any of these cloud accounting softwares in your practice? Okay. See, there is still, no wonder there's all these relevant sponsors upstairs, because there is still huge market share to grab here, right? Okay, one I want to talk about is Free Agent, and I'll end up with one of the quotes that Free Agent's founder said when I attended Accountex North last year about how AI will not replace humans, but it'll just enhance and augment and make more time for accountants to add more value. All right, so now let's talk about the traditional core tasks of an auditor, right? What do we do? What did we do before, and what we do right now? Letters. Year-end audit, we have to send confirmation letters to banks, responders, financial institutions, pension funds, your clients, debtors, solicitors, if your debtor-creditor balances are material. What is the solution now? How you can automate or digitalize that is where we sit, actually, confirmation.com. It's an online encrypted platform. Basically, we exchange information in a secure environment. The other things auditors do is, go through millions of data, run through information that is provided to them from their clients, and then what can the auditors do now is get the help from robotics and artificial intelligence tools, like the sponsors that are doing it. Few providers that I want to mention here is Auto Entry, Bankstream, right? These providers will actually, even QuickBooks, if there is an expense, so there is a tool called the QuickBooks Self-Employed, used by self-employeds. You take a photo of a receipt, and then all you do is, if it's a personal, you swipe left. If it's business, you swipe right, and then at the back of that technology, it'll create a double entry bookkeeping of that ledger, right? It's a beautiful piece of software. And talk about machine learning, same example. Next time you take a similar photo, because the previous receipt's gone to personal or business, the next receipt will automatically go to either buckets. Makes it very easy for you. And calculations. So calculations are now done by softwares again. FP&A, like Brenton mentioned, there are softwares like Adaptive Insights and Anaplan that will help you budget and forecast. And then other softwares like Sage, Zero, that will help you, and I didn't know about the accountancy management software that will help you, do your daily practice management. So everything can be actually replaced by technology, all the core tasks of accountants and auditors. Now let's talk about AI and robotics. I was reading articles, and one of them I read is, I'm not going to explain what AI is, okay, because there's lots going on already, but one of the things I read is in a Times magazine article is, and by the way, there's a lot of Australia and New Zealand theme going on here because that's how we started. A New Zealander guy called Nigel Richards in 2015, won the world champion for a French language Scrabble. And the noteworthy thing about that is Richards did not speak French, okay? And what he managed to do, don't ask me how, is within a space of 9 weeks, he was able to memorize 386,000 words in the entire French Scrabble dictionary, okay? Really, I think because Zero came from there, and I've used Zero. Quite intelligent folks down there. This impressive feat is a useful metaphor for how artificial intelligence works. What's happened is there's lots going in the past 5 years at least for artificial intelligence, and there's some misunderstanding as well, or some sort of confusion. The real AI actually, just like how he managed to memorize 386,000 words, what AI or deep learning actually does is takes in massive amounts of data from a single domain, and then will be able to analyze it for your judgment, right? Then it'll make it more meaningful. It'll create some diagrammatic representation of data and help you add value to your clients. And AI is not only affecting the accounting and the audit industry. There is a recent research from PwC, Ireland, which said that by 2030, AI will be responsible for about 11% growth of Irish GDP, which is about 14 billion euros. And then they've also almost concluded that it will not replace work, it will actually create more jobs. And Ireland will be one of the most progressive countries in the EU. And all the big four is already in AI. KPMG have their platform called Clara, EY is on it, Deloitte's already on it. And then one of the real examples that I can give you is a tool called MindBridge. MindBridge managed to develop a tool called the AI Auditor, and that is, they claim it to be the one and only, the pioneer in AI auditing. So real-time going through all of the data that your client will provide. Again, if I go back to all the softwares, it is extremely important that the client is using some sort of software so that your data input is of good quality. Otherwise, all these machine learning, artificial intelligence tools will fall short of your expectations. What data goes in is extremely important, okay? So examples of AI and machine learning in audit is robotic stock taking. One of the examples the founder of our company gave is a use case, a real case where there was a stack of marble. There was a marble company he was auditing, and then it was built up like a sphere of that. And then when you look at it, it will look legitimate. The opening stock, whatever went out in the year, and the closing stock made sense. But then he just took the initiative, went on to the construction worker, asked him to go over in a crane, and then looked over. It was a hollow in the middle, so there was no marble in the middle of that big, strategically created structure that the client managed to build. Okay, now if that was, that is human intelligence, by the way. Okay, that will never be replaced. If you didn't take the initiative to go over the crane and look over that, then he would have said he would have signed off the audit, or he would have given a good audit evidence. What you can do using technology nowadays is drones. I don't want to mention drones because whatever happened in Gatwick Airport, but drones can actually help you with audit stock taking or doing stock taking, and I already know that Big Four are already doing that. The other thing that artificial intelligence, and actually this overlaps with my next slide, which is data analytics, is testing 100% population of data. And you can flip it over the head. Instead of doing sample testing, data analytics allows you, audit data analytics allows you to take 100% testing of the population data, and your sample actually becomes anomalies, like the variances from last year's. That will become your sample. Just turn it around. And then what you can do, as human beings, you can still use tools that is provided to you to go deep down and then interrogate that data, or speak to your client, or write your audit opinion, or do your company accounts on the basis of those samples. So that's what audit data analytics has allowed you to do. Another example is invoice matching, right? How invoice starts as a sales order, invoice, and the goods delivered note. When I was auditing, my first audit planning was to do the materiality threshold, and then do the sample testing, and then go to a 2-week audit engagement. Nowadays, I can do all of that beforehand, provided that I get a good quality data from the client. But what I can do is I can literally test 100% of the audit. I can test 100% of the invoice matching by getting all the sales order electronically, all the invoices, and the goods delivery note, and then I can look at any variances that'll give me, and then I can go and investigate the client if there is any. Revenue journal testing, again, same logic. You can, when I was at Intuit, I was actually still an accountant. I was using Oracle ERP to do my month-end accounting, and we all know that there are specific codes for revenue, and there's specific codes for cost centers and cost of goods sold. So if I'm an auditor, and if I want to use data analytics, then I can do 100% revenue journal testing, and I can immediately find out the differences, if there is any, and then that again becomes my sample. And one last example I want to give you is, if you're auditing an asset management company, right, and if you want to look at their fees, compare their fees from what they earned last year and what they will be earning this year, what they've earned this year, then again you can do 100% 100% testing of all the fees they've earned. And that, I'll tell you now, will not be something that Excel can manage. Only tools like data analytics and AI can manage that. Some of the examples I'll give you, I'm not going to go without examples. There are tools that are being used right now is Alteryx, Alteryx, ClickView, QlikView, and Spotfire. And KPMG has their own platform called CAP, and EY has Eagle. And the Big Four already are on it big time, because they even have innovation leaders to do just that, because they already know that that's already the next big thing. Database, distributed ledger technology. This actually was created when I was reading for this presentation. I found out, I think this was created because there's a lot of clients that have been established, like Coinbase, that do Bitcoin trading. Imagine auditing a Bitcoin company. Like, how do you even evaluate, whatever today and tomorrow? It always changes. So distributed ledger technology actually helps you do that. And an example I can give you, which is in a pilot stage, is what EY is piloting right now as we speak. It's called the EY Blockchain Analyzer. And it's designed for EY auditors. They facilitate in gathering an organization's entire transaction data from multiple blockchain ledgers. And this is designed, again, to test and audit companies who trade Bitcoins and Ether Cash, basically anything that is to do with blockchain technology. Okay, so now this is where I come down to the implementation and how you can, and why technology matters. Everything ties back to the customer experience. Jeff Bezos always thinks about his customers, right? That's how he's built the Amazon empire. I'm an Amazon Prime customer, by the way, for the past 7 years. Again, something I happily pay every year, because I love the customer support, especially after sales. If I want to return anything, they do it straight away. So why does technology matter? What is the end goal? Technology actually directly enhances your customer experience, and in the back end also it enhances your employees' experience. as I mentioned, I submit my assignments using Turnitin, right? Give a stack of paper to your recently joined graduate and look at their faces. If you take away the opportunity for the graduates to use any sort of technology, I'll guarantee that within a year or two, they will move to some other firms or some other companies that will allow them to use new technology, because they already know, these fresh graduates, that technology and being better in that, or using any part of technology, is the way forward for their own career progression as well. So front end is anything the client sees, anything the client uses, that is again impacted by customer experience, by technology directly. When I bought a house in the UK in South London, I never got to see my lawyer because I was using again a platform, and I even called them to go and talk to them in person, but they just declined to meet me, and they said everything is there, just log in, and you'll see all the title deeds, all the documents from the solicitors, from your estate agents, it's all there. And I didn't like it because I sometimes like meeting people in person, but that's where all the industry is leading towards, like less and less human interaction, which actually is the other side of too much use of technology. On the back end, this is the employee's experience. If you use technology in your firm, almost 35% of you already adopted cloud accounting softwares. The fresh graduates, all the trainee accountants who join your firm, runs payroll solutions, and don't have to deal with paper. That will result in less human errors and a better and accurate calculation of your clients' accounts. That overall is an example of use of technology enhancing both the customers and the employees' experience. Now, this is what our technology helps. So, as I mentioned, we are an online electronic platform for auditors and banks and law firms to connect. So, audit firms log into our platform and then they send a request electronically, so replacing letter and emails. And then it goes to the bank logs in again, attaches a document, responds. So your 6 weeks of sending an audit confirmation letter shrinks down to 3 to 5 working days. Okay, that's the biggest value that I always say. But what that also does, because of the help of technology, is this is a research by our company in the US done in 2015. The response rates significantly increases, actually hits the maximum from 71.6% to 100%. There is 100% response rates from financial responders, banks, and law firms when an auditor has used our platform to send a request. Reconfirmation rate. So reconfirmation is when an auditor is not happy that the audit evidence was sufficient and appropriate. You can always go back, or you're not happy with or the bank says we never received anything or got lost in the post. You need to confirm again. So the reconfirmation rate decreases from 43% to 1.3%. So look at the hit rate. You send a request through our network, you'll have to do like almost 80% less work, because otherwise you'll have to repeat the same thing 43% of the time. And then this is the best part. The average turnaround time, even SLAs in banks, even today, is about 21 days. You send a letter today. I can quote this example because I was in Bank of Ireland, AIB, last year, September, October. Their SLAs was about 21 days, and then they add 5 days postage on top. So you'll be waiting for about a month for your letter to come back. And then that might not have all the information. If auditors use our platform and our technology, then the turnaround time shrinks heavily, drastically, from 21 days to 1.4 days. So send a request today, 2 days later, rounding it up, you will get a request back from the bank, response back from the bank. Couple of more things on it. One more thing on why should you care is the changing competitive landscape. If you don't adopt technology, embrace technology, and by the way, I was here for the practitioners conference and I was super engaged when I heard Fergal, the CAI current president, talk about how firms should be embracing technology because that's the way forward. I really like that. presentation. He was talking about how practice owners can, keep their clients, keep their employees happy. And his number one mantra was also to keep all your employees happy, because if the employees are happy, then your customers and clients are happy, and overall there's more money coming into your bank because everyone's happy. Changing competitive landscape. If you don't embrace technology today, then, again, quoting PwC's research, with the help of all these automation tools, the next firm or your neighboring firm who is using technology will be successful in undercutting you in price, because they'll be able to deliver the same value or more that you will not be able to deliver if you're not using any form of technology. Regulation, this is one of my favorite topics, and the regulation, the perspective I bring in the regulation here is fines and penalties. So FRC is currently investigating, and the Serious Fraud Office in the UK is investigating a number of issues or agendas in the UK, one of them being patisserie Valerie, which is of particular interest for us because there was some secret overdrafts that was uncovered when, I mean, you guys know, but it is still in investigation, so I'll leave it to that. But imagine if the investigation goes against the audit firm in question, then the fees and the penalties against it. All the closing down of companies and winding down of companies, big companies, has increased, scrutiny on Big Four already in the UK and Ireland. From that standpoint, Big Four and all firms, depending on the size of your firm, will need to proactively look into use of technology and how you can deliver more value. And lastly, this is the more obvious, less gray hair, auto entry, automatic double entry bookkeeping, using tools that will take care of the majority of the time you'll otherwise spend if you do stuff like bookkeeping manually. That'll all be taken care of if you use technology. So those are the three elements that I wanted to explain of why you should care. And then, when I do roadshows, we also partner IC at Dublin. Number one question I get is, we are a firm who do 3 or 4 clients audits, and audit we are going away from audit because of the turnover and the threshold. Oh, we don't need technology. Our clients don't even have an email address, right? And I've heard a couple in Ireland as well about it. One of the things you can do is just do a need analysis. Just stop, because life is busy every day. There's year ends, there's tax filing deadlines, and there's personal tax returns and audit deadlines. But if you gather a bunch of leaders in your firm and then just assess, what is the process, what is happening right now, that we can introduce technology or any softwares, we can plug in a solution, and that will decrease the amount of time or amount of man hours that you'll otherwise put in your practice manager to bill your clients. And do your own cost-benefit analysis, okay? If you're winning in the long run, if you see immediate efficiency gains. And then also remember that you don't have to worry too much about robotics and AI, because but what I would recommend is keep an eye open on what the bigger companies, the bigger firms are doing, because they publish their results and how they have increased efficiency and gained a lot of man hours, and how they've used that extra hours they've gained on an advisory level, and delivering better value to their clients. So take action now on that standpoint, from that perspective. Do a need analysis, and then you'll be able to add value to your clients. That is something that I can guarantee, because obviously advocating use of technology with my previous employer and my current employer, I can tell you that, and I've given you examples as well, technology is the way forward. CAI is organizing this conference because of that, really. Firms who are not into it already should actively look into using any sort of technology. And that is actually the end of my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I hope I've answered that by telling you what you can do, to do some need analysis to begin with. Thank you.